Hello, and welcome back to Sharing a Chapter a Day. This is Do-Ra-Mi, and today I will be reading Chapter 10 of Engagement in Peril by Dara Odoe. Chapter 10 is titled Relocated and Liberated. Several years later, my family and a handful of families in the refugee encampments were taken to the Philippines for future processing. Now, I don't remember how we ended up there or how our captor took us to the Philippines, since Thailand is in Southeast Asia and the Philippines is a whole ocean away on an island. I don't remember being on a boat or in an airplane. All I can remember is that we woke up one day and there we were, in the island of the Philippines. I think they probably smoked us with some kind of knockback gas. But the Philippines wasn't much different than the other place that we were in. We were still caged in, but with fewer guards, still surrounded by barbed and steel wire fences and watched upon by people with guns, once again. Just like the previous site, we were situated in the jungle of Thailand. At the least, the Philippines was our new home for now. Mother told me we were on the Philippine island for about 6 months or so, until we were then processed and brought to the United States of America. One day, several soldiers came and escorted us in a large green caravan truck and drove us into the jungle, and out of nowhere, there stood a white concrete building with various symbols and writing on it. It was there that they took our pictures and fingerprints for processing. We each had to hold up a miniature chalkboard with various serial number on it. Mother had to help my little brother hold up his chalkboard for his photo op. These were the pictures that I used to put on my first book cover, the first 22nd years. I didn't know what was going on then, but Mother assured me and my sibling that it would be all right, and just to simply do what they told us to do, and let them do as they please. While at this processing center, it was the first time I had ever seen a white-haired person who had pale skin and blue eyes. She really scared the shit out of me then. I had thought she was some sort of a witch or monster then, but Mother was there to comfort me, telling me that there are people out there who are and look different from our usual tan complexion, dark hair, and dark eyes. The tall, slender female stranger asked one of the well-dressed, well-groomed men to translate for my mother. She was asking my mother if it was okay for her to take me with her to go to live in Europe and such. The pale lady wanted to adopt me and take me away from my mother. I'm sure she was working for a foster agency of some sort, looking for kids to take back to Europe or something. Knowing and wanting a better life for her eldest son, Mother leaned down and whispered sadly if I wanted to go with her. Go with the white lady, Dara. Would you like to go with the pale lady? With a sad tantrum, I hurriedly cried out, Ate! Meaning, hell no! Of course, I guess my mother thought I would have a better life if I went with the pale stranger. The lady looked at me once more with her deep, dark blue eyes, smiled, and went about her way toward other family with young children. I imagined what my life may have been if I had gone with that pale stranger. Where would I be, and what would I have become, and what type of world may I have had? After spending most of the day in the jungle being processed and evaluated, we were then loaded up once again and taken to a different camp. This camp was somewhat different. My sister and I were enrolled in a small community school which was situated in the camp, where we learned the English alphabet and numbers. We were taught remedial math and various American and European children's games. And it was here, in this camp, that was the first time I ever played musical chair. My sister and mother were taught a little bit of English during their ESL training and diversion program. It was here that my mother and sister were re-educated and were indulged in the new age modern world, a world that none of us had seen or known about before. School life was pretty rigorous and straightforward, and we didn't try to fight the system then. It was what we know, to obey and respect the hand that fed us. And if we were misbehaving at school, they would whip us on our ass or on our palm with a bamboo stick. Hitting and striking the head were strictly prohibited. It was a religious thing for our culture, which states our head is our temple and no one is allowed to touch our head, not even to give a pat on the head. No matter what, it's considered sacred. If our parent found out that we were misbehaving at school or anywhere else, we would get beating even worse than that from the school. I too was being re-educated, at the least introduced to a whole new world. While on the island, my second near-death experience came arise. I was stricken with a severe illness and had to be taken to the hospital. I had never been to an actual hospital before. I'm not sure what I had gotten sick from, but they removed something from my neck. I'm sure it was some form of goiter or something of that sort. All I can remember is that when I woke up in a white concrete room on a soft mattress, with white sheets and fluffy white pillow, my neck and head were wrapped with white gauzes and bandages, and I had a little red card next to me, and a soft brown teddy bear clutched in my right arm. I had never seen these sort of toys before, so I held them snugly and smiled at my first smirk. It was the same smirk that my future beloved Shinshin often showed while we were involved together. Once awoke, I had come to my senses. I had sat atop the bed in awe of new discovery and surrounding, and believed that I was dreaming or something. No one was around. There were windows and several spinning fans hanging from the ceiling that kept the room cool. And 3 times a day, a tan Pinoy lady in white clothing came into the cool, refined room to look over and fed me. Gelatin-like food substance was given on a daily basis, about 3 times a day or so. Days later, I was reunited with my mother and sibling after I had recovered from my malnourished illnesses and sickly episode then. While residing in the Philippines, I'm not sure who, they started teaching my family and the other captives and refugees about Jesus, God, and the various stories from the Holy Bible. We were all gathered together and taken to an open field. It was like a drive-in, a parking lot, but with no cars. We would spend days and nights watching films about Jesus and his journeys, about various Christian prophets and such, and stories of the plague and Moses and such. And all this time, we were sitting and lying atop plastic mats, rugs, and blankets on that dirt field. We all sat and lay there in awe over what was being showed and propagandized to us. It was a cultural revolution to us then. We were all being re-educated in the Christian and Catholic faith then. Most of us cried when we saw Jesus being beaten, march off like a dog with a large wooden cross upon his battered back, and he was crucified. We couldn't understand why the Roman soldiers were inflicting so much hurt and hate on Jesus then. Mind you, the whole film was in a different language, which few of us understood or knew. What they were saying in the incomprehensible gibberish we heard. The movie was shown in a foreign language, gibberish to my family and many others. Although we didn't understand what was being said, we understood the action that took place, and what we saw was maiming and torture upon a bearded man who seemed to be going around doing good deeds, raising the dead and preaching about his godly father. Christian Catholic religion was important to the people who were watching over us then. Days in and days out, that's all we were taught. We saw films after films, and we told countless stories of God, Jesus, and all that occurred in the Holy Bible. These people who were re-educating us were preparing us for something, and we had no ideas what. Like robots, we went along with the preset program. After a while, the ordeal became routine to us, and we got used to the daily regimen and education of religious studies and films. After all, we were guests in their camps and lands. Had we accepted all the given to us, I'm sure, if they told us to jump, we would have jumped. And if they told us to take a long walk off a short bridge, we would have glad to do so, if we were told to. It was how we were programmed then. Still afraid and scared for our lives and our captor with guns, we did what we were told, and lived our life as if it was our last. After a long while, some of us found refuge in the Catholic Christian faith. Some of us began to pray to God and Jesus, instead of praying to our ancestors and many deities and Buddha. I guess some of us were converted from our past historical faith and beliefs. Eventually, and in the long run, as I was growing up in the state, I too have been reformed and been reborn and have become a born-again Christian. Thank you for listening. This is the end of Chapter 10. Be on the lookout for Chapter 11, titled Freedom and the United States of America. Until next time, this is Do, Ra, Mi, and I'll see you later. Thank you.